Once upon a time, in the tumultuous era of the mid-19th century, a storm brewed over the land of the United States. A storm that would shake the very foundations of the nation and leave an indelible mark on its history. This was the American Civil War, a savage conflict that raged from 1861 to 1865, tearing apart the fabric of the country and pitting brother against brother in a struggle for the soul of a nation. At the heart of the conflict lay the issue of slavery, a dark stain on the nation's conscience that had festered for generations. In the northern states, there burned a fervent desire to abolish this abhorrent institution and forge a more just and equitable society. But in the South, where the economy relied heavily on the labor of enslaved people, there arose a fierce determination to defend the institution at all costs. The northern states, often referred to as the Union, were characterized by their rapidly industrializing economy. Cities like New York, Philadelphia, and Boston bustled with factories and mills, churning out goods ranging from textiles to machinery. The invention of the steam engine and other technological advancements fueled the growth of industry, attracting waves of immigrants eager for employment opportunities in the burgeoning urban centers. In contrast, the southern states, known as the Confederacy during the Civil War, relied heavily on agriculture, particularly the cultivation of cash crops like cotton, tobacco, and sugar cane. Large plantations dotted the landscape, worked by enslaved laborers who toiled under brutal conditions to produce the goods that drove the southern economy. The plantation owners, or planters, wielded immense wealth and power, dominating the social and political spheres of the region. The election of Abraham Lincoln as the 16th President of the United States in 1860 was the spark that ignited the powder keg of tension that had been building for decades. His victory sent shockwaves through the southern states, who viewed his presidency as a threat to their way of life. One by one, they seceded from the Union, forming their own nation, the Confederate States of America, and plunging the nation into the depths of civil war. The war itself was a harrowing and bloody affair. With approximately 620,000 soldiers losing their lives, it remains one of the deadliest conflicts in American history. The Union forces, led by President Lincoln, aimed to preserve the Union and bring an end to slavery. The Confederate forces, under the leadership of General Robert E. Lee, fought to defend their way of life and maintain their independence. The American Civil War witnessed several pivotal battles that shaped its outcome. The Battle of Gettysburg, fought in July 1863, marked a turning point in the war. The Union victory not only halted General Lee's advance into Northern Territory but also boosted the morale of Union troops. Another significant battle was the Battle of Antietam in September 1862, which was the bloodiest single-day battle in American history. Although it ended in a draw, it gave President Lincoln the opportunity to issue the Emancipation Proclamation, declaring the freedom of all slaves in Confederate territory. As the war dragged on, the toll it exacted on the nation grew ever more apparent. The once thriving cities of the South lay in ruins, their streets deserted and their buildings scarred by the ravages of war. Meanwhile, in the North, the human cost of the conflict became painfully evident, as families mourned the loss of loved ones who would never return home. At the Battle of Antietam, the single bloodiest day in American history, over 23,000 men lay dead or wounded on the field of battle, a grim testament to the horrors of war. Yet, even as the nation reeled from the staggering loss of life, the conflict raged on, fueled by a sense of duty and honor that transcended the brutality of the battlefield. Beyond the military aspect, the American Civil War had far-reaching consequences on various fronts. The abolition of slavery became a fundamental goal of the Union, ultimately leading to the ratification of the 13th Amendment in 1865. This monumental act forever changed the social fabric of the United States and set the stage for the civil rights movement nearly a century later. The war also had economic repercussions. The industrialized North, with its factories and railroads, had a clear advantage over the agrarian South. The conflict accelerated the industrialization of the nation and contributed to the rise of the United States as a global economic power. As the years passed and the memories of war faded into history, the legacy of the American Civil War endured. From the hallowed fields of Gettysburg to the quiet streets of Appomattox, the echoes of that tumultuous conflict lingered, a poignant reminder of the price of freedom and the cost of division. Furthermore, the American Civil War redefined the role of the federal government. Prior to the war, states held significant power, but the conflict shifted the balance in favor of a stronger central government. The war also solidified the concept of national identity and loyalty to the United States.